Hey everyone, this is your old pal Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. Today we are going to do something I picked up purely because of a sticker that said Clive Burr from Iron Maiden. This is Elixir Lethal Potion. I was hoping for some Iron Maiden drumming, that did not happen. This sounds to me very much like early Def Leppard. And I mean, like, high and dry Def Leppard, you know? Really early stuff. Um, got a great rock beat to it. It's not a metal album, you know? It really isn't. I mean, there's some metal on it, definitely. This is a hard rock album, though, to me. The whole thing just has kind of like I said, Def Leppard, but and you know, Def Leppard kind of gets lumped in new wave British heavy metal, and this deserves to be lumped in for that reason. But it's not metal, you know. It's you know got a guy from Iron Maiden, but it's definitely not Iron Maiden. Let me just get into this album. This one's gonna honestly be kind of quick. The album opens up with "She's Got It." That one's not a bad song. It's a good rocker, kind of gets the album up and going, gives it some energy, some passion. It's pretty cool that way. That's about where I go with it. You know, when you hear the title, "She's Got It," it kind of sums up the song, you know. But good solid rock music. This album has good solid music most of the way through, although it's kind of generic rock music. If you watched my review for Eve 7, or Eve 6, sorry, where I said they're basically their music I define as teenage movie soundtrack. This would be like 80s movie soundtrack, you know, and not the good soundtrack kind of stuff either. I'm talking like, you know, a bunch of songs just kind of thrown on there from whatever independent artist or, you know, group they've got in their back pocket kind of for generating generic music. After that, we go into Sovereign Remedy, which is not bad. Once again, music wise, it's pretty good. I don't pay attention to the lyrics pretty much at all. After that, we get into Ligarian. Ligarian? I'm Ligarian. I'll put it up on the screen. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Good tune once again, music wise. I'm not listening to the lyrics. Then we get into Louise. I kid you not. He's saying something like, "Oh, Louise," in the chorus, and for the longest time I thought he was saying Halloween. Not that I listen to this album often, I really don't. I throw it in every once in a while, kind of like if I want to do a review for it, or if I just want to listen to it to see, you know, if my opinions have changed or anything like that. Louise is not a bad tune, as long as you hear the lyrics differently. Shadows of the Night. It's an alright tune. It's got a pretty cool bass line going in it. That's kind of nice. Just fast, high pace kind of bass line. Then we get All Together Again. I just kind of blank on that one. Lighten Your Heart. Not a bad tune, but really, after Shadow of the Night, Louise and then Shadow of the Night, I kind of blank for those next two songs. They're just, even within their own album, they're kind of generic. Then we get into Metal Trance Intro in brackets, and then Visions of Darkness. This is a really good tune. It's pretty early cliche new wave British heavy metal, which is odd considering this album was from '88. Really reminds me of early Maiden with Killers or Iron Maiden. Great that way. Enjoy listening to it. Not overly, you know, like it's not something that's going to pop and make you go, whoo. Then we got Edge of Eternity, which is a good tune, in between tune, you know. It's not one that I go, ooh, and perk up to while I'm listening to the album, but it does a nice job of going between Visions of Darkness, and the last song, Last Rays of the Sun. Last Rays of the Sun, I think might be one of the most interesting songs on the album, might be one of the most different songs on the album. I can't say with absolute certainty. Most of this album is pretty generic and sounds the same, and I was really bummed out because, I heard Clive Burr's on this album, so I'm expecting Maiden level drumming, and when I bought this, I didn't realize why Clive Burr had left Maiden at this point. I wasn't a huge Maiden fan when I bought this album. I bought this album... I stumbled across it this as a used copy. I stumbled across it in the music store. It was somewhere between probably 97 and 99. So, probably, I want to say 10 years after this album came out. And if I had picked this album up when it came out, it probably would have been my copy sitting in the used store. I generally don't get rid of used copies that I don't listen to. They just tend to sit around, and once in a while I'll throw them in. And that's what this falls under. Once in a while I'll throw it in. I don't want to say it's a disappointing album, because it's not. The musicianship on the album is decent. The drums, honestly, I thought were going to be better than they were. And that is disappointing and upsetting, because I really would have loved... Some of these songs really would have benefited from the older Iron Maiden style drumming that Clive Burr used to do. Drumming was very boring and bland on this album to me. The bass work by Mark White is pretty decent. Luckily they put the names of everybody on the back here. I think Mark White did a great job on the bass lines. That's where the metal is. The bass is in the metal on these songs. Phil Denton and Norman Gordon make up the guitars. They do wonderful jobs. Great rock guitars, I think. And then Paul Taylor doing the vocals. And Paul Taylor, good vocalist, but very boring, cliche vocalist. Reminds me very much of the vocalist from Diamond Head, but the vocalist from Diamond Head is actually cooler sounding still. This album sounds like a neutered version. The vocalist on here kind of sounds like a neutered version of the Diamond Head vocalist. That's just my opinion, though. That's what I think. And it's really funny because the vocalist's name is Paul Taylor, and I wanted to go check to see if it was the same guy or not. And Paul Taylor is like the name John Smith, okay? Just forget it. Forget it. There's so many out there. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. As far as I can tell, this is the only band that Paul Taylor's been in, but when I try and wiki it, they don't even give a link for Clive Burr to say that Clive Burr was, an Iron Maiden or anything like that. So, who knows? I do not recommend this album. I don't. I don't recommend it. I think the artwork on the cover here might be the coolest part about it. Funny, 2 albums in a row where I've done that, and just wait for the next review when that comes up, because the next review is going to be wicked. Anyways, so those are my views on this. And interestingly enough, I've got the yellowing on here. It's starting to go. It was yellowing even when I first got it. But it still plays. It still plays. I still listen to the actual CD version, not just what it's on the computer. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Those are my views. Comment section, that's what your thoughts and views are for. Otherwise, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Peace, love, take care.